Hello, check, check, check. All right, cool. So I think we're good now. If you guys can hear me, please let me know. I had the microphone muted for a second, but I think we're good. Let me just check. Check, 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 check. I think we're good. Okay, sounds like it's good to me. This is the first time I've actually streaming to both platforms at the same time. So this is kind of new territory for me, and I wasn't sure if I got it right. But welcome everyone. I had a whole long monologue there about how my year started, but welcome everyone. Welcome back. I haven't seen you guys and been in front of you for a couple of months. I decided to take a break from the end of November, and I have returned to classical chess here in 2024. I have some goals I'd like to reach, and I'm really excited to be back in front of all of you. So welcome back, everybody that's here. And as many of you know, if you caught my last stream, I did actually take a break from classical chess over the board play at the beginning of November, middle of November, to spend time with my family and enjoy the holidays. And that was a really good time. I was still studying a lot of chess. I just wasn't going to the club and spending time that way. But we have now reached 2024, and I'm back to over the board chess. The first tournament that I've played is the Winter Swiss at our local club. It's a 4-round tournament, and I was able to play the last 3 rounds. I took a first round bye because the first round started in December, and I was still on my break. I didn't want to come back. So we're back now, and I'm super, super excited. So again, apologies for the little hiccup in the beginning with the audio. I forgot my microphone was muted, but I think everything looks like it's working and good to go at this point. Let me check the stream just to make sure here. Looks like it's working. All looks good, and I believe chat is good. Hello, everyone. And it looks like it's posting to both YouTube and Twitch, so I'm excited about that. Technically, I did it all right, so I'm pleased with that. And it looks like I see it all in my platform here. So, very cool. All right, so let's get started. And let's go to here so you guys can actually see everything. Okay, my first round was actually round 2 of the Winter Swiss, and I was a little bit nervous. I've decided that I'm changing up my openings. So whatever I learned back in 2023, I decided to not play that anymore. I will play it occasionally online, but now I've switched over to some new openings again, trying to build my knowledge and my depth and stuff like that. So I'm very excited about that. And as you know, when you switch openings, things become difficult, and you really have no idea what's happening one way or another. So you have to start getting into a lot of the nuances of a new opening. So a lot of positions are now going to be new. I'm going to be in a lot of unfamiliar territory, and if any of you have tried to change openings, you know what I'm talking about. For those of you that don't know, it can be a little jarring to make some changes to openings and then be met with a lot of positions that you're unfamiliar with and you don't really know, and it can be a tough time. So the only advice that I have to you, if you are starting a new opening, just be patient and try to learn it as best you can and play it as much as possible. The other nice thing that you can do when you start changes to new opening is go through a lot of Grandmaster games. Find your favorite Grandmasters or favorite top players and look for games that they played in those openings and just click through them quickly and go through them in repetition over and over. And you'll be able to find a lot of plans and ideas that way on how you should maybe proceed. So if you've been using a Chessable course or something like that, and you are looking to try to get better from the opening into the middle game, the best thing to do is click through a bunch of those games and see how the Grandmasters progressed. So it's really easy to follow Chessable and learn some of the lines and kind of get up to speed really quickly. But a lot of times what I'm finding after you do that is it's really tough to progress and figure out how to move forward from the ending of wherever that Chessable course lands. So it's usually the first 7, 8 moves, maybe 10 if you're a little bit more advanced, maybe even into 15 or 20 moves if you're really getting some of these bigger lifetime courses. But what I find troubling for I think a lot of people, and myself included, is you get to a point where your Chessable and opening knowledge ends, and now you have to play chess. So to start getting past that, one thing you can do is go through Grandmaster games, look through the games in those openings and see how the Grandmasters kind of moved on from there. So I did a lot of that in November and December while I was off, and I felt semi-comfortable in the openings that I've decided to start playing for the year. And the openings that I am playing are going to be the ready. So as white, which we will see a white game today, I'll be playing the ready. And then as black, I'm going to be playing the Pirts or the King's Indian Defense. Those are my 3 openings that I'm going to try to play for the year. And so if you want to prepare for me, by all means, go ahead. I actually challenge it because I guarantee that I'm probably outworking whoever's doing their opening prep. They're going to have a challenge because I get my lines as deep as I possibly can. And I do take examples from ChessBase and I do put them into some of my opening rep because I think some of those ideas are really valuable. So this will be the first over-the-board game that I've played in a King's Indian Defense. This is actually an English opening. My opponent is Aaron Krause from our local club here in Waukesha, and I'm really excited about this game because he's a 1900 player and he's at the level that I want to be at, and I really wanted to get a good game with him, so I was actually pretty excited to have a really strong opponent for my first time back. I knew this was going to be an extremely difficult game, and I did not know what he plays as white. I've played him a few times, but it hasn't been... Actually, if I go back and look at my... Do I have any games with him? I believe I've played him once before. Not in Classical. It looks like from my notes and my ChessBase, I've only played him in Rapid or Blitz. So I've actually taken one off of him in Blitz. I played a Dutch against him and I actually beat him. And then I think he beat me in another game where I played in English and I think he beat me that game. So I did find that kind of interesting. So I was really excited that I had pretty strong chances to be able to compete. So yeah, very exciting. Let's take a look. So he started with an English. I had no idea what he played as white. I didn't know, so I was unclear. I didn't have any notes, so I just kind of prepared my own stuff. And here I played d6. I am preparing for a King's Indian Defense. At this point, I'm expecting d4, and he did play it, thankfully enough. So I feel a little bit comfortable. We're getting into some territory that I'm actually familiar with, which is nice. And so far, so good. I know the ideas and plans from here, or, well, at least some of the opening plans and ideas from here. So, and he plays kind of almost like a ready structure where he wants to fianchetto this bishop, and then stop me from maybe fianchettoing mine, gaining more control over the center. So I'm going to continue on with my hyper-modern approach as a King's Indian Defense player. So I want to get castled, and then we're going to go from there. So he played bishop g2, I played bishop g7, just continuing development, and he played knight c3. So I thought to myself, okay, well, I believe that he's going to strongly kind of castle queen or king side, but I'm not 100%. I think it's quite possible that he wants to castle king side, but it's unclear because he developed a piece from each side. So he did get closer to castling queen side, and he did get closer to castling king side. So I don't really know, but I think I'm safe because the moves that I have to be a little bit careful of, or that you should be careful of in the King's Indian defense, is whether or not they play a little bit more aggressively on the king side by advancing the f pawn or advancing this bishop and knight, getting closer to castling queen side. So it's probably a 50-50 chance that he could castle either way. So I think I'm safe at this point, at least to castle king side. Had I expected him to, let's pretend for a minute that he switched his move order here a little bit, or he moved his bishop. Nah, maybe not that. This is a poor example because he played g3, so I guess I can't really look at it any other way. But if I expected him to castle queenside quickly and then start a very quick kingside attack, I might want to not consider castling kingside. But here I thought I was safe to do so, and I decided to do that. So I have my main setup. I've reached a spot where I feel good, and he continued with e4. And so I got move ordered into, it's not a Pierce, but it's a King's Indian defense. And with this move order the way it is, I was a little out of my depth because he has not committed his kingside knight anywhere. So I was a little bit, I guess, confused on how to best proceed. And I think I made a slight mistake here by playing knight c6. And I think I should have played knight b to d7. I think this should have been my move. This should have been a variation with the idea of playing d5 really quickly. But my idea was to play knight c6 and then play a quick e5 to then try to prompt and hope for an advance of the d pawn to d5. And then we would get something like this. So we're going to add a variation, and then I'd get my typical King's Indian defense structure, and I'm happy with this. My next idea is to go here and then here, right? That's kind of the typical plan and structure for a King's Indian defense. But this whole idea was, I was a little thrown off because, whoop, I don't want to go back. Nope, let's delete. Oh, no, okay. No, we don't want to do that. Delete that move. Sorry about that. Delete remaining moves. So I'm a little taken back by his move order and placement of some of his pieces, and I was unsure on how best to proceed. So I kind of flounder. I start to flounder here, kind of badly, actually. And I made a bunch of moves that I probably shouldn't have. And what this is me mixing up plans based on the setup. I'm mixing up plans based on where I think pieces are supposed to be and how I think I should proceed. So I'm actually mixing up plans based on a few different lines. And this can happen when you start studying new openings. And I'm no different. I fall victim to this as well. And it happens until you become experienced in the openings or playing these openings, which means you got to play a lot more games to get behind. So I played h6 here, and this was probably, this is certainly a tempo wasting move. It's probably, I wouldn't call it a mistake, but it's certainly a dubious move. I marked it as such in my notes here, and in my notes I say I mixed up ideas and plans. Move order matters somewhat, and I was not familiar with this move order, allowing for a potentially quick f4 for a 4 pawns attack. And right here I'm kind of out of my depth, and I played this h6 as a prophylactic move, kind of as a waiting move, for two reasons. One, I wanted to see how he was going to progress. I was expecting him to castle. And then two, I wanted to keep his bishop out of this square here, or any other pieces. Now, there's no danger of him actually bringing any of that stuff there, at least right now. But I think what I probably should have done instead is just struck in the center, just went right for e5 right away, expecting d5, and then, I could continue on with my normal development here. And I feel like this was a much cleaner way to kind of progress and continue. And now I do get my f5 in, but he also has f4. So this particular knight to e2 move has kind of messed me all up, because I was not expecting any of the lines to come where he can push a very quick f4. So I'm definitely out of my depth here, and feeling a little pressure. So I got a little confused and mixed up my plans, which it happens. What are you going to do? You have to continue on. I figured this out after, post-mortem, when I'm analyzing the game later. I didn't think about this during the game on how many tempo I was wasting based on some of these moves. So I think, okay. So after e5, if he castles, we can play for that, and he gets this Maroczy bind type of structure, and this is okay for black. He's got this c-pawn here that he has to take care of. I can easily attack that very quickly with developing a few of my pieces. He can defend it and then kind of fianchetto this way, but overall black has an okay position and has taken a part of the center down, and I think we're doing okay. Another variation that we can continue on here is this one, and then we get this, the queen doesn't really want to take back here, mainly because there's this discovery you have to be careful of, and I think I have a pretty good move here with this. He's got to, actually no, he can just take that. That won't work. There was another move here. I can't remember exactly what it was. I think I'm in the wrong variation, but I'm probably mixing up some of my analysis. But yeah, this discovery is kind of a little bit scary to deal with. So it's easily dealt with, so it's not too big of a deal, but it's something to worry about. We're actually going to delete that move before. Delete remaining moves. Okay. That didn't happen. And none of that happened. I played h6 instead. So I've kind of wasted a little bit of a move here. Okay, fine. And he played h3, so he made an equally... You entered a URL in chat that's not allowed. What? I'm gonna have to figure that out. Okay, so apparently it does not like my automatic links for restream. Maybe you guys can't. Are you guys able to type it all? I'm not sure that anything's actually coming through. I know some people are watching, so hello to everybody. I haven't seen any chat messages come through, so I'm kind of unclear. I guess I'm gonna have to turn off that bot, because that's just pushing stuff that's not gonna really actually work. Okay, definitely some technical things I have to work through. Not sure exactly how that goes. We'll just continue on. That doesn't really matter at this point. So here I finally play e5. I get my move in, and he played d5 and knight e7. So I did get my moves in, thankfully enough, which is really great. What's interesting is it still shows, like, in my chat, the stuff's there. I don't know if you guys see it from... Actually, let me check my restream and see. It shows there. Does it show on Twitch? Whoops. It looks like it does. Oh, it actually gets it. I see. So it's actually Twitch is the one that said, no, you can't do this. Okay, interesting. It shows up on my on my stream because there's a link to it, but it didn't show up actually in the Twitch stream chat. I'm gonna have to solve that problem, but okay, very good. All right, so back to the game. I got my move in, and he continues development. He's really delaying this castling, which is kind of, I think part of this has really kind of thrown me off altogether. And I don't really know how to proceed. I know one of my ideas is to push f5, but I know that he can equally push f4, so I made another waiting move, and I probably shouldn't have. So now I've wasted a few moves trying to get my things in when I could have done it so much faster. Whereas here, I think I should just play knight e8, queen d2, and then king h7, and then I can play for f5 at this point. And I think I'm okay. I'm not doing amazing, but my d6 pawn could potentially be a problem if he castles queenside, because he'll have this rook here, and he'll have this battery, and it will be difficult to deal with. So that's something to consider. But I think we're doing okay. I played a5, which is another meaningless move. I shouldn't have played this because there's no reason to, not at least right now, because I can't get my knight to d5, so it kind of doesn't matter much. So he played queen d2, I played king h7, protecting my h6 pawn. So can you guys actually see that? Yeah, you can see it. There's just a little bit of a delay. So yeah, I kind of calculated this out, and then he castled kingside, and I thought, okay, so now, you know, we both kind of, he's got this really nice strong center, and I have to figure out how to disrupt it, but I didn't think about that at all in the game. I'm still hung up on my own ideas, and I'm still a little bit concerned with his, whereas I should be really concerned with his plans and working to prevent him from completing those plans instead of, you know, kind of just going through. So I'm going to continue on. I played knight to e8 with the idea of pushing f5. And maybe I should have played knight d7, f4, and then f6. Maybe not committing all the way to f5, and maybe I'm okay here. Because if he decides to do a move like this, I can lock up the center, and yeah, we can maybe do some trades and stuff like that. But then, you know, I can always kind of circle my king around back to safety and then get control of that and then start playing on the queen side. I am a little jammed up here, so this is kind of a tough position to be in. But, you know, I think we're okay. I think everything's all right. It's certainly, I've seen worse. I've seen better as well. But, you know, how are we gonna proceed from here? Okay. Let's see. Nope. Chat settings. I'm going to have to play around with some of the settings here in Restream. I haven't used this before, so this is new to me. There was a thing before some of the messages came up that showed how many people were here, but it seems to have gone away now that the chat messages have filled up. So that's kind of changed a little bit. And it all seems fine. Everything seems to be working, which is great. There was like a little link that showed how many people were on each platform, which I thought was really cool. But now that the chat's filled up, that seems to have gone away. I like that little feature. I wish it would stay there the whole time. Might be something we have to investigate. All right, back to the game. Let's move this down a little bit so I can see the rest of my analysis. All right, so this might have been a decent way. I didn't play that, and he played F4, and I played F5, which most likely is a big mistake. I probably, shouldn't have played this. I don't think I can allow him to take on E5. I think I have to handle this. I think I should have handled this like this. And this was not my suggestion. This was a suggestion by Evan, my training partner, or one of my training partners. And I do like this a lot better. It feels a lot more safe. And I feel like I'm pretty cramped, and I don't have a lot of space for my pieces. And I have to start trying to unwind, and I think this is probably the best way to do it. And I do like his idea quite a bit. I feel like this would have been a much better and safer way to go. I was so fixed on my plan that I didn't consider any of the issues with his. So I played F5, and I believe this was probably my big mistake. Because now, bad things are going to happen. And he plays Rook A to E1, and he gave me a chance here. I probably should have, still taken here, new variation, and I think I still might be okay. He gave me a second chance. Unfortunately, I didn't take it. I developed my bishop. I don't understand why I made this move. I'm looking at it now, and it really doesn't make a lot of sense at all. Now I remember. I wanted to move my queen here and have this battery on H3, and I just don't think that helps at all whatsoever. I don't like it at all. Doesn't make a lot of sense. This is just I have some of these ideas that I've mixed up with. This is just lack of experience in the King's Indian defense. So I really played this quite poorly. That was the idea anyways, and I think this would have been a better way to go. Bishop D7 I think is another mistake. So now I've made two mistakes in a row, and I've given him chances to do everything he needs to do. So he was able to take on E5, which I think that's the biggest mistake. I should not allow that, because now taking back, and here's where most of my issues come into play, because now he's got this D6 pawn push that can just, and look at my pieces are just so, that's not what I want. There we go. They're all just stuck back here, like they're not doing anything. His pieces are very active. He's got, a lot of activity. His pieces can jump into play very quickly, and none of mine can. So he played C5, wanting to play D6, and what what I'm frustrated here is I played another inaccuracy, maybe even another mistake. Um, I saw probably the best move, which was a rook a6. I thought, okay, I'm just going to come here and I can pretty much stop everything. I don't know what I was scared of, because this helps me bring this over here and control the F file. And I feel like this is just great. Not great, but this is much better than the way I played it. And I saw this over the board, and I didn't play it for some reason. I was seeing phantoms or ghosts or something, and it didn't work out. So I play another inaccuracy, I believe, which is queen to c8, kind of continue with my plan to go after this pawn, which I don't know why. I guess I'm kind of expecting him to take here, which he never has to do. He can just leave it. His plan is clear. He wants to push here. He's got all this pressure, and I just can't stop any of it. So, and here I think he made an inaccuracy. I think he should have continued on right away. And if you look, it just kind of... This is tough to deal with. That d6 pawn is huge, and I don't really know how best to deal with this type of pressure. This is pretty much losing for black, so I think this was... I think this was a mistake, or at the very least, it's an inaccuracy for my opponent. I think he should have just continued on. And here I mark this as a dubious move, but this is probably most likely a mistake as well. The game kind of falls apart from this point on, and if you guys can kind of see how to stop it, it's pretty bad. There's not a lot of stuff that I can do. I can still play rook h6 here, and I think this feels really strong, and I feel like I still have very good chances if I find this move and make it. But that didn't happen. He played here, and bishop takes f5 was a mistake. There's a lot of tactics at this point. I don't know if you guys can see them and leave some comments, but it gets really, really bad quite quickly. Maybe there's ways to continue, but this was... I think I had maybe this option. Maybe this is playable. But this is still not very fun. I'm very cramped, and now he's got this pawn on c6, and it's really tough to unwind. Maybe it's playable. Maybe I can bring my knight in here. But even then, this is not looking good. Well, maybe he can't do that because of this, but he can probably take here first and then take the pawn. But yeah, this is rough for sure. Not very good. So I played what I thought was a good move, but this is probably most likely a big mistake. And he played d6. I think he should have played g4 right away. I think he made a mistake here. Not that it matters because his pressure is so great. I'm kind of stuck, and this is really difficult to deal with. And yeah, this pawn is just so devastating. Not much I can do about that. He exchanged some pawns, which I think was bad. I brought my knight to c6, and this was a blunder. And I think it probably would have been better to come to knight to g6 and try to deal with this pawn with this type of variation. And it's still very difficult. This pawn is just so strong. There's not a lot I can do about it. Rook f5, and can you guys see and spot the move that my opponent played? And can you spot a better move There's two moves here that I think are both okay, but it's rough. It's really difficult for me. Black is falling apart. Everything is bad. Can you guys spot the move? If you can, leave some comments. Wait for chat. I don't know. Has anybody made any chats in either YouTube or Twitch? If you can, please, that would be great, so I can see whether or not they're actually coming through on Restream or not. I don't see them coming through on my chat bot, and I don't have my YouTube stream up, so I'm not sure. Maybe I can look at my live chat there and see. It's been a while since I've streamed to YouTube. I don't even remember where to go. That's certainly not it. Okay, let's go back to go live. Okay, it shows me live there. Start back. Okay. Yeah, allow. Something went wrong. Okay, that's fun. Can you just take me here? I don't want the opening. It shows my stream going, but there's a thing coming up that I can't get past, unfortunately, because it wants to schedule a stream. That's lame. Okay, I guess we'll just continue on. I'm expecting that the chat's working and just people are quiet, but can't really tell. Oh, there we go. I see. So there's some things. There's some people here. Hi, and I'm just lurking. Thank you. Okay, perfect. Thank you. I appreciate. I just wanted to make sure that the messages were coming up. So I do have a message from people on YouTube, and I do have messages from people on Twitch. So I know it's working. I just wasn't sure because I hadn't seen any messages. So people are quiet and just listening. That's cool. Thank you for appeasing my curiosity. Very much so. Okay, we'll continue on. All right, so have you had a chance to check it out? Have you figured out what the moves are? This is the move my opponent made, which pins this rook to my king, which is an extremely critical square. There's actually a better move, I think. Not sure if you guys found it, but d7 looks to be very, very difficult to deal with. I'm losing... yeah, I think he should have played this way. And I found this move... We talked about this in postmortem, but I don't think it really matters. I think it's all bad. Yeah, I'm down a piece and I can't continue. So even with bishop e4, this is still rough. I think we talked about this move as variation. Actually, is that the move that I saw? Yeah. This was a variation that we both considered. That pin's still there and it's still difficult to deal with. But there was a variation here that seems to work out in my favor. That we found. No, even then, I'm gonna lose that piece. So yeah, there was one that we found during postmortem, and I couldn't find it, but yeah, d7's actually pretty rough to deal with. So after bishop e4, I came up with this move. Probably still losing. This is so tough, and he played d7 now, and I thought, okay, nope, that's not it. I don't have a variation here. There was, no matter what, I think I'm in a rough spot, because I'm going to lose that rook, which is okay. Let's say I go here, do variation in here, and let's take I've got 3 minor pieces, he's got 4. I'm down a minor piece, and he's got this very, very tough pawn. If I take here, that's like the worst thing. That's a major blunder. And now I've got this fork And I just can't deal with any of that. So I took here, but I saw this variation, but I did not see the critical variation, which is another step further. He took here, I took here, and the move that I did not see was this move, coming back, because he promotes, and I thought, oh, I'm going to have time to bring my knight to here, forking here, and I might have some chances, but no, I messed up, so at this point I resigned. And that was the end. Really tough first game, but I believe it all came down to just lack of plans, lack of experience in the opening, and yeah, it was a rough game. So kudos to my opponent, Aaron Krause. I guarantee when we meet again that this sort of thing won't happen again because I'll have much more experience under my belt. So it's great to see him back to the club. He'd been away for 6 to 8 months or whatever, so he's back, and I look forward to playing him again. So I'm really excited. He's such a great opponent, and he plays really interesting chess. So I'm really excited to learn and become stronger by playing Aaron. So thanks to Aaron. This was a really fun game. I did enjoy this game quite a bit. So not a good start to the year, but that's okay. But yeah, a decent first game. I was happy to have a strong player, and that should be good. Okay, let's make a change here, and we'll go to back to this here, and let's change the game. Close out of that one. No, we're not going to save it. It still shows there. Shoot, I thought this would help. Darn it. Well, that's all right. Let's go back to chess base and click here. I was hoping to try to keep it from like showing the chess base window when I change games, so it doesn't show the result, so I can keep it a little bit surprising for you, but I haven't figured out how to do that. I know that I could do these on Lichess, and I could put the studies in there, but for some reason when I do the studies in there, Lichess, you can move the screen and then it moves on the stream here, and it just looks weird. Yeah, so I haven't figured out the best way to handle showing and presenting games. I think ChessBase is the best way because I have multiple colors and arrows and things like that, and the board doesn't move. So like it's fixed, which is nice. But in the King's Indian, you're either win or you lose in empathetic fashion. Yeah, and that's why I decided to play it. I set a rule for myself this year: no draws. Draws will happen, of course, but I will not either offer a draw or take a draw when it's offered. I am playing for a result no matter what this year. There was a number of times last year where I got into an end game or near an end game and my opponent would offer a draw, and since they were higher level than me, I'd take it because I was nervous or I just wanted to get out of the game, or I wasn't confident in my skills or anything like that. Or I had other outside factors influencing my behavior and decision making. And I said, this year I'm just going to make a rule. I'm fighting to the end. There's going to be a checkmate or a decisive material advantage where resignation is going to happen. So I'm playing for a result, which is one of the reasons why I chose King's Indian defense. The other reason is it can become very extremely sharp and tactical, which is where a majority of my deficiencies in my game are. So I chose that as a very aggressive opening, and I'm going to play it as such. I want results. So absolutely, I want to win or I'm going to lose. So yeah, some of my wins are going to be extremely fantastic and awesome, and some of my losses are just going to be absolutely terrible. So I don't think I lost the game too terribly. I think this was just to me a matter of inexperience and mixing up plans and the opening being new for that particular game. So I was glad. If you're going to lose to somebody 300 points higher than you. So, your rating loss is minimal, which is nice. So that was my loss of the first game of the year was a loss. So it is unfortunate it's a loss, but I think I got a lot from that game about how I should proceed with plans and things like that. So it was great. I did enjoy that game a lot. And I had a really nice post-mortem with him where we got to talk about the game, which I don't always get. That's part of my favorite part of the game is talking about it afterwards and coming up with ideas. What were you thinking? I want to know about their thinking and what kind of plans and ideas they had and what they were thinking about. So I do enjoy postmortems quite a bit. So I was happy to have this game, and I had a great opponent. And yeah, like I said, if you're going to lose a game, lose a game that to somebody that's 300 points higher than you, then the loss is like you lose 5 points in rating, whatever. It's not a big deal. So can't complain about that. All right. Game number 2 of the season, of the year. And then this will be game number 9 of the Road to Class A, I believe. I'm probably going to lose track of that at some point, but right now I got it in my head. So welcome, friends. Thanks for watching. I appreciate you guys coming. Here's another game in my Road to Class A series. I do appreciate you guys watching these. Do leave comments down below. Did you see any lines in this game that we're going to go through that you thought were interesting or critical? Leave your ideas and comments down below. Like and share. It does help me out quite a bit. As always, it shows me that you like this kind of material and you want to see more. And I get a lot out of it too, because not only am I playing the games, I get to try to train and explain everything to all of you as a teacher and an educator of the game. So I'm hoping that people are finding benefit in seeing what it's like from a 1600 level Class B player's perspective, which I know a lot of new players are coming into the game and they're looking for somebody that's a little bit higher than them to help them progress forward, and I think I'm in a good position to do that. So I hope that these are very helpful for all of you as well. All right, let's get into the game. I was really excited for this game. I got to play a new player to the club. His name was Ben Kearns. So he is a gentleman who lives near me in our local club that he's starting to come to the Waukesha Chess Club. So I'm excited to play more games with him. It's awesome to see new faces at the club, especially over the board. I think that's the most exciting part of chess, is you get to meet so many like-minded people that really love the game. And he primarily played online, and now he's getting into over the board. And I was excited to be one of his first players that he got to play, so or near the front. I know that another one of my training partners got to play him at the Christmas party, so I had a little bit of information about him, but I went into this game completely blind for the most part. But the rating list said he was about 1,400 roughly. I think he told me he was about 1,700 lead chess, so definitely no slouch. Definitely somebody that knows how to play the game and can come up with some really good ideas, and somebody that you have to really kind of be careful of. All right, so as I mentioned in my last video and last live stream, I decided that I'm going to play the ready. The reason for this is the ready can be very combative, and I believe that it really kind of throws people off, because most people are going to be expecting e4 or d4, and knight to f3 kind of confuses them, at least at the class level. As I get closer to 2000, I'm sure that will be less of an issue. People will know and have to set up their lines and know what to do. But in this particular game, it was interesting because my opponent, he was expecting e4 or d4 because that's what people play online, and he sat for a few minutes, like 2 or 3 minutes, deciding what to play when he started, because he even admitted to me, he's like, I didn't expect a ready, and he's like, you guys at the club here play all kinds of different stuff, so it's something I'm going to have to get used to. I said, yeah, everybody tries to confuse everybody by getting everybody at a book, because chessable is such a big deal. So I was happy to have my my plan worked. So he played knight to c6, which I think is where a lot of his problems stem from at the beginning, because now he loses the ability to move the c pawn, and that becomes a real problem for him at some point. So I played g3, he played b6. He's going for an English defense, or an Owens defense. I think it starts with b6 and then bishop b7 without the knight move. So I can't remember. I'm probably mixing them up, but it's an English modern defense kind of setup. So hyper modern. I am familiar with this particular setup because I used to play it. Not so much with the knight. I just know that the knight move there at the beginning is not ideal because it blocks the c pawn. So I know that this is just better for white. So I'm going to continue on, and he played e6. I got my super castle, as Nate Solon coined it. I do like it. So at this point now, I'm trying to decide how best I want to proceed. I haven't gone through the whole ready course that Nate Solon has, so I'm unfamiliar. This is unfamiliar territory for me. I do know the themes and ideas, and I have went over a lot of games in the ready to see how other grandmasters proceed. And I thought, well, he wants to play. Now, what I should have done is, instead of castling here, I think I should have played. I should have played d4 to stop e5. I didn't do that. This was a suggestion from Nate Solon directly. I don't know if he got it to me over Twitter or the chess gym, but I'll talk about the chess gym at some point. If you guys want to comment about that, go ahead, ask me, and I'm gonna plan on doing a video about the chess gym later. But yeah, this kind of stops the whole e5, and that's what I should have played here. I messed that up, but my opponent wasn't sure, so I played e4 or c4, stopping d5. Now, it doesn't stop d5. You can still play it, but I don't think it's ideal to play. And he played knight to f6, and I played b3 with the idea of doing a double fianchetto. I like this a lot. I'm controlling when I get it in. We'll talk about that move in a minute. I'll be controlling all of these squares with the idea of pushing these at some point when the timing is right. Yeah, I like this idea, and he played a very dubious and interesting move here. I think this is his first real mistake. I didn't mark it as such in my analysis. I should have, but this is definitely a mistake. We're gonna mark it as a mistake even, so we're gonna put a question mark on there. But yeah, it totally blocks up his center, and he can't do anything. So I continued my plan. I probably should have just played d4 here, and went just to gain full control of the center. But he played queen to e7, and so now I'm kind of wondering which way is he going to castle. I probably should have still played d3 here, but I wanted my fianchettoed bishop to be very active, and I played d3. Opening principle wise, I should have just played d4, and then just kind of continued development, and then try to gain a huge center. Um, my idea was to play for e5 or e4 and then e5 because these are forkable pieces, right? So this is a critical square. So, and I've got full control of it. So if I can get a pawn there, I'm going to win a piece. Now this is kind of quite elementary, very basic, very novice level. But I thought, okay, well, it's a decent plan. I might as well go for it. And I'm doing okay in development. I'm a piece down, or not a piece down, but a piece behind in development. So I thought, well, I'll just gain control of the center and we'll go from there. I probably should have just played d4 and then played for e4 and then e5 instead, but I played this way instead. That's okay. It's a learning experience, so I'm unfamiliar with plans in the ready yet, so this is new territory for me, and I thought this was a good idea. It seemed to be okay for me. Here was so this was the second surprising move. I really expected a castle one way or another, which I think he should have done. I think he probably should have castled queenside, and then played for kingside attack. But I could understand why you wouldn't want to castle queenside because I do have that c4 pawn very close. It could get messy. But you could also castle kingside if you didn't want to do that. And, I have only got really one piece attacking that way, which is my bishop. But you can easily play e5 and kind of play against that bishop. And I think it's okay. So I think you could go either way. I think it's personal preference. I'm really not sure what the engine would say one way or another. I don't think playing a5 here is the right idea. Maybe trying to move your bishop to a more active square would have been ideal. Maybe bringing it to, c5 and controlling a little bit more of, the center and trying to block things up that way. Not exactly sure what the best idea to do here is, but I think castling is probably one of the best options, and then trying to get this bishop to a more active square like b4 or c5. I think you have to prepare a little bit more for if you want to bring it to c5, because I could then push d4. But yeah, either way, he played a5 and gave me another option. I thought this was really surprising. So I played e4, continuing with my plan as we kind of discussed. And now I have a real threat. My real threat is playing e5 and going for a fork. So I'm pretty excited that I've got a plan here that kind of worked out. It's very basic, but it is a real threat he has to deal with. And the best way to deal with it is with e5. So now his bishop looks really silly on d6 there. So I'm just going to continue my development, knight c3, and now I've got a nice outpost on d5 for that knight even. Finished my development. I'm happy with how the opening has went. I feel like I'm in a good spot. I feel like I'm in the driver's seat, and I feel like I've got really good chances. I also have another threat. My threat is here. I can win this bishop. Or if he decides to move the bishop, I have this fork as well. So there's a critical square here that he has to be careful of. So I'm either going to win the bishop, or then I get the bishop pair, and then I'm going to just try to blow everything up so I can make my bishops active. Or I'm going to fork and get a rook. And here he played bishop to a3. And can you guys see the problem with that move after what I just explained? So now this is even better for me. So this was actually a blunder. And yeah, if you know and can figure out the sequence, please let me know down in the chat. Leave a comment, pause the video, try to figure it out for yourself. All right, so I actually took the bishop. Here's the sequence that played out, and this is the best way to play it. Queen a3, queen takes a3, and knight to b5. This is a good move. I gave it an exclamation point, mainly because we fork the queen and we get this fork of the king and rook. So the queen can't come back here because the knight protects that square as well. So he moved it. So actually, let's take a look at that first. We'll add a new variation. He can't come back here because the knight covers those squares. So this was the decisive mistake in the game. He moved his queen, and then I forked and took his rook. So now I'm up in exchange, and I feel really good now. I'm in the driver's seat. I have an advantage, and I think it's time to play some chess. And now I have to think about trying to convert the game, which is sometimes the hardest thing to do. But I have an advantage coming out of the opening and starting the early middle game. So I'm really happy. I'm really pleased. So now I have to try to come up with a really good plan on how to continue. Now, one of the plans to continue was, that is one of them. I thought about trying to trade off the queens, but I thought the knight's coming in here. They would be way too, these could potentially be really long-term assets for black, because this is a good outpost. I have trouble trying to dislodge that knight. And then even so, this knight could come here by maneuvering, and then I can't get that knight out of there because I only have one knight to dislodge it. Also, if he's able to lock down the position, these knights can become very powerful, and my rooks and bishop can be useless. So I was kind of scared of that, so I didn't like that plan. That was a plan that I had saw, but it wasn't one that I really liked so much. This plan is probably the best plan. I probably should have played for d4 right away and then traded off and open lines up, because I need to get my rooks active and my bishop active. If I can get my rooks active, there's really no way he's going to win this game because he's down in exchange. And this is extremely good, I think. And black's king is not castled. It's really loose. So I think this is really, really strong for white. The other thing that he could have done is he could have played e takes d4, but it kind of transposes to the same thing. So the other thing that they could have done is if, where were we here? Knight d4. If they play d6, we can just ignore that and play for the open file. Lines are open. I broke through. I've got a file, so now I can kind of just gain control of that very quickly. If he takes with knight e4, we can just take the e pawn. This is really tough for him to deal with because, whoops, we've got this. Frank, sorry, someone was at my door, or somebody dropped something off. Baxter, quiet, buddy. So yeah, this is tough to deal with, and I'm gonna get c5 in, or sorry, d5, and then d6. It's gonna get messy. Yeah, my bishop's open. I'm gonna gain control of this file. This is already really, really rough for black. The plan that I came up with was queen to c1, with the idea of coming to here with this fork. This was my plan. I thought this was a decent plan. After looking at it, I think the d4 plan was much better, because he can play king f8, and now I think I can still do what I wanted. Wait, was... Sorry, I lost my spot. Queen to c1 is move 15. I didn't have any other options here at move 15. I should have just played d4. That would have been the best move. But I played queen c1 and he played king f8, kind of stopping my plan. I think I played queen to e3, and I think I still probably could have played this move with the idea of winning this pawn here. But he can just go here, and then I have to deal with it. So I didn't like that. I went queen to e3. With the idea of maybe hoping to trade off queens, and then I thought, well, maybe that's not good because then he gets this center pawn, and this is good here too. So I was like, this was probably a mistake. What I should have maybe done here is went knight h4 and kind of continued this way. Yeah, so the idea is coming here and then here and then getting this mating attack, which I thought was good. I like that plan quite a bit. So he'd want to try to probably keep my knight out of there, but then it's coming anyways. Yeah, and he can't do that because we'd just come back and we're going to get this. And then, you know, we have this control that's just kind of really tough to deal with the idea of f4, f5. It's tough. There's a lot going on here. And these were some of the ideas and things I saw during the game. But for some reason, I played queen to e3 instead. It was a wasted move. I was trying to see if I could lure this knight out. This was kind of a little bit of hope chess here. Because then I could bring my queen here, and then he's got, you know, I've got multiple threats, but he didn't do that. He offered a queen trade. I denied the queen trade because I didn't think it was good. I thought, like we just talked about, he'd have this crazy outpost, and now black's kind of equalized. I can't get my rooks out, and the, you know, being up the exchange is almost useless. So positionally, I thought that was not a good idea. So I played queen to d2. He manually finished castling, and now I kind of continued on with my plan. And he brought his knight in. For here, I spent a while thinking here, and maybe you guys can come up with some other ideas, but I didn't come up with any other ideas. This is one idea that I came up with, was just to keep the knight from any types of discovered attacks or checks. That was my failsafe move if I couldn't come up with anything better. What would you guys play here? I kind of want to continue with the plan that we talked about just previously. And, I was concerned about, you know, trades and simplifying and things like that. But I'm at the point now where I'm like, oh, I'm up an exchange. I should simplify anyways. So knowing that, how would you guys best proceed? Maybe you guys can come up with some lines, leave some comments. If you're watching this as a video in the live stream, go ahead and make some comments. Yeah, king h1 is a good idea. With the idea of f4, I like that idea a lot, actually. King h1, and depending on what black would do, maybe they're trying to solidify their center, then playing f4. Yeah, this is a pretty decent idea. I like this idea. It also helps us build more of a king side attack and going after the king. So yeah, this is not bad. It also gives us the ability to blow up the center, but we have to be a little careful as not to allow him to trade on this particular square, e5, because then if his rook can get active against our backward pawn. So we have to be careful, but you're right, we definitely have to get our bishop into the mix, because right now our light squares are just stifling our bishop's progress. So you're definitely right about the light squares. So light squares have to be taken care of. So the move that I came up with was knight to f5. I said, well, okay, I'm just going to continue with my plan. Okay, let's go for a mate threat. And if he decides to take, which is what happened in the game, I'm just going to take it. And now I've solved my light squared bishop problem. Okay, whoopsies. It's open. But most certainly what's going to happen is it's going to trade off, which is exactly what happened. And now I've got two rooks and a queen against a rook, a knight, and a queen. And I've actually made some simplification. To me, I feel like this is a good way to go. And this was the critical position I had to think about whether or not I wanted to have all the way from back here. And I ultimately decided after, I believe, 5 minutes. What move is this? This is move 19. Move 19. Yeah, I spent 5 minutes here deciding whether or not I can do this and determining whether or not I like this position or if it's playable. And I ultimately decided that it was. So I went for it, and this is actually what played out during the game. And I'm up in exchange, and the best plan forward here is to limit his knight activity and open lines. And how do we best accomplish that? So it's my opponent's move right now, and he played h6. He kept me from coming into g5 with my queen, but I have no intentions of pushing like that. So to me, that was kind of a wasted move. And even if I do move there, big deal. I mean, what does it achieve? It achieves nothing because I don't have any other pieces to pile up on this yet. I have to maneuver a lot of pieces to get over there. So whatever kingside attack or mating attack might have been there, it's gone at this point. So now we have to start thinking about endgame play, and now it's about maneuvering pieces, opening lines so I can get my rooks active, and limiting the scope of this knight positionally. At least that's what's in my brain. So he stopped me from coming into g5. To me, I think that's kind of a wasted move. I think he needs to kind of consolidate, and maybe this is kind of a waiting, consolidating move, trying to see what I'm doing. So here I'm just going to move my rooks to the center. He got his queen a little bit more active. I'm limiting his knight from coming into, excuse me, into g4. So now that knight has no squares. It can only move backwards. So I'm good with that. If it moves to h4, it's on, or h5, it's on the rim, so it's not doing much there. So I'm okay with all of that, but keeping it out of this square was critical. He brings his knight or his rook in, and I finally. Oh, thanks, Harry. I appreciate it. Thanks for coming by and hanging out. So here, I offered my first queen trade. He was smart to probably deny it, and he had to come back because if he comes here, I'm going to take it, and that's fine. Now we're okay, and I'm going to try to blow up. We're going to go here and here, or here, 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 here. We're just going to move forward and be okay. So he didn't do that, though. The other thing I could do is just consolidate. And now, yeah, if he gets his knight here, it's kind of tough to deal with, but I'm not too worried about that. He denied it and saved his pawn at the same time, which was smart. I played rook to rook f to e1, going after the pawn. He put me in check. I offered another queen trade. I probably should have just moved my king back to g1. I didn't consider this. I wanted to trade queens off, but I probably should have just moved my king back and left this going right here, and then with the idea of pushing this pawn later. But I offered queen trades, and here's my third queen trade offer. And here I think I gave him a psychological issue to deal with, because I made it seem as though I'm willing to draw by repetition, and he went for this same thing again, and I said, and then I made the move f3 and said no draws here, and I think that can hurt some people, that can help some people, but it's certainly a psychological play when I played like this, and I did it on purpose. I want to trade the queens off, and I did the repetition hoping to try to play the queen trade, and I knew that he didn't want to, but I was hoping it might have some sort of psychological advantage over him, over my opponent. Maybe it didn't even bother him. We didn't get a chance to talk about that particular aspect. So yeah, he played d6, and queen trades are not happening, so I decided now we're going to try to blow up the center, and he played rook to e8 here, which was a great move. I think this is the best move in the position. It's pinning my pawn, or the pawns, to my queen, and I have to be very careful here. Like if this happens, so if he just traded, then I get that, but he played rook e8, and I said, okay, well, I probably should have just blown it up and just went here. And then if he comes here, we come here. He can either trade here or go here. And yeah, I think this is okay. We have to be careful. You know, things can happen very, very badly if we're not careful. But I think we're still okay and safe. So, but we can now get this repetition. So you have to be careful. I could have had a draw if I'm not careful. So we don't want to do that. So I didn't allow that, and I played d5, pushed him through, and he played queen to c7. He has to. I guess he could have played queen b7. He's got to keep control of that pawn for sure. And I played g4. And here I'm kind of trying to figure out how do I best proceed and how do I move forward. And it's rough, right? I have to be very slow about it. And this move 31, we're about even time. I've got 47 minutes, he's got 51, so we're doing okay for time. Definitely plenty to play. And I came up with my secondary plan of trying to push on the king side. He moved his knight away, coming, and he's going to bring his knight into c5, but it's kind of almost useless there. I think he needed to keep it on the king side to keep protection of his king. And he played queen to d8, and I played g5. One of the things I think we should have done is just opened it up right away. And if he comes here, we get this, and it's a tough time for black. So I didn't do that. I played g5. I think I was a little overzealous here, and even here I think I probably should have taken this, because either way I'm going to be able to get my rooks over. I'm not sure exactly. I took here and then pushed here. I sacrificed 2 pawns. I think I had to be very careful. And to note, black has if white can make a very big mistake here, we have to be very careful. And I knew about this because I ran into this issue at the Waukesha Memorial in 2023. In one of my games, I made this move, which was really bad. Queen g6 is a blunder, and can you see why? Pause the video, try to figure it out for yourself, and then leave a comment. Let me know what the best move for black is on move 38. Say move 38, and then say the move and double exclam, and boom, we have a winning position for black. So I have to be careful. Let me know what the move is. So I played rook to h1 with mate threats. He played queen to f8, which is a good move here, but he resigned. He resigned after he made his move. Offered his handshake and resigned because he thought it was checkmate. It's not checkmate. There's still game to play, but this could have been how it continued. But it's still rough, and it would be a difficult game for him to kind of continue on. That's the way to kind of get out, and we would get queen g6, but that's still you still have to be very careful by taking certain things. But yeah, this was the final position, and my opponent resigned. But it is tough to deal with. I am going to be able to get some pawns back, but it is hard to play from here for sure. But well done to my opponent. I think if he stays with over the board chess and starts playing more, he's going to become very, very good very quickly, because he's going to be playing some tough opponents, because the Waukesha Chess Club is very, very, very tough. So congratulations to him. We played a really fun and interesting game. I learned a lot from it for playing the ready. There's a lot of times where I should have broken up the center a lot better, or I should have controlled the center a lot better, and I didn't. So that's my takeaways a lot from this game. Also, this mating attack, sacrificing 2 pawns to break through was probably not ideal. So yeah, I have a lot of lessons in this game as well, which is really good to hear. So yeah, if you enjoyed this this video and you're watching this from YouTube or in some other area, please like and share. It helps me out a lot. And then leave some comments down below with some of the moves that I asked and questioned about during the game. Thanks for watching, everybody, and we'll catch you guys in the next episode. Okay, that was awesome. Let's take a look at the next game. I think I figured out how to do this. So we're going to bring up that game, and if I do this, haha, I figured out how to do it, so it doesn't matter. Awesome. So I figured out how to change games, and you can't see the results, so you guys don't know what happened. We're going to say no. Awesome. And you guys can see the board, so that's really awesome. I'm pretty happy about that. Woohoo! Okay. Let's see. All right. That game we just played was round 3, and this game that we're playing is round 4. Welcome everyone to a new chess analysis game in my Road to Class A series. This is game number 10 in the series, and I believe that this will be round 4 of my first tournament of 2024. So I'm rather excited. Let's dive into it. As always, if you enjoy this type of video, please like and share. It helps me out, shows me that you like this type of content, you want to see more. I enjoy educating all of you, so if you find this useful, that helps me. That's the most, if I was able to help one person play something, I'm very excited. And that is the most important thing to me, is that I've helped somebody improve and get better at chess. So, okay, let's take a look. All right, so this is round 4. Also, leave comments down below if you find lines or sequences or ideas. Also, when I ask questions about where they are or what moves to play or what ideas, please make those comments where you're at. Let me know what move you're talking about. Say, oh, move 5. Why didn't you play this? Or, ask questions. I'm happy to help and answer anything that might come up. So, all right, let's dive into the game. So, round 4. of the Winter Swiss at my local chess club in Waukesha was with Charles Carreros. Now, I was supposed to play another opponent, and the parents changed at the last minute, and I was supposed to have white, and so I studied ready opening all week, and I did no study on my prep for black because I was expecting to play white. So the pairings changed. Some people weren't able to make it to the club, which is quite a common occurrence. So I don't know why I prepped for my opponent, but lesson learned again. I've learned that lesson many times, so I'm going to stop doing it. But excuse me. All right. So I got paired with Charles, and Charles is around my age, and he just recently came back to the club maybe 2 months ago or so. So he's on his way back to getting into over-the-board chess. And he played previously like I did, and he's around 1,500. So, all right, let's get into the game. Oh, to note, I'm 1640 right now, and my opponent is 1,500. So this is no game. This is a game that I should be able to win, but I do have to be careful because 1,500s can be very tricky, and this is a good testing game for me. So I'm excited. And right out of the gate, my opponent played b4. He plays the Polish opening. I believe it's its real name. I think it also goes by the orangutan. So this is kind of interesting. Of an opening. I have never played against it, not even online, and I can't remember if I've ever even seen it in practice, just for fun. So this is new to me. I've never seen this, so I'm out of my book at this point. So now I'm kind of in my idea of, okay, I only need to play my normal setup as a King's Indian defense player. So I'm going to go from there. D6, I play 1d6 no matter what they play, and he played b5, which to me I was just like, what, dude, what are you doing? Why are you making all these pawn moves? What is happening here? Because like I could just play c5, or I could play c6 and then take it. There's so many, I don't understand this opening at all. So maybe somebody that is a Polish or orangutan player, could you leave some comments down below and let me know what the plans and ideas are with this opening? Is it just to confuse players, or I'm assuming there is some like lines and known theory about this opening and what some of the plans and ideas are, but I certainly do not know what they are supposed to be. And I looked in the Masters Lead Chess database, and there was no games played in this position. So I'm in territory. I'm in my own territory at this point. So that's fine. So I think the line that I found was, this is the critical line in the Lead Chess database. This is master stuff. So I just continued on playing knight to f6. I'm just going to try to get my setup and go from there. I probably should have just played e5 and just went with basic opening principles. Control the center, get both pawns in the center, develop your pieces as quickly as possible, get castled early, and go from there. I didn't do that. I was so concerned about getting my own setup. And he played c4. I was also confused by this move. Why are you not trying to get castled sooner? But so to me, I was thinking, oh, maybe he wants to castle queenside. Okay, that's fine. I saw this and thought, okay, this is still okay. Mainly because I'm going to fianchetto my bishop to here, and he's going to have permanent dark square weaknesses because I have the bishop pair, and to me that's good. So plans and ideas here would be to control the dark squares and then blow up the centers and try to smash as many pawns as possible to open lines for my bishops. So positionally anyways. He played that, and now I'm going to finish my development. And he played e3. It looks like he's going to try to get a big pawn center by playing d4, and then have this really nice pawn chain that I'm going to have to contend with, which is okay because now he's giving me a bunch of targets. So I was expecting him to play d4 or delay it, and I was like, okay, well, I'm castled. I've got my setup, and now I can figure out how to move from here. He played bishop e2, and I thought, well, okay, maybe he's going to castle kingside, but that kind of, if you were going to castle kingside, why didn't you just kind of go through and do that right away? So I was a little not understanding how he's going to progress in this game. So he successfully got me confused with his direction, which was fine. All right, I'm gonna finally take control of the center, and if he plays d4, then all right, I will continue on, and we will move from here. And this, I did not really like this position that much, so that's why I didn't really go for the or allow the trade. So I believe what I was going to play was knight b to d7 and then play this way, because then if he takes here and here, this is okay for black. I like this actually quite a bit. Yeah, these pawns are really advanced, but they're going to become targets, and this bishop or this knight are going to have to try to hang on to this pawn. So I was like, okay, I like that. Those things didn't happen in the game. He played h3, and I was another surprising move. I was like, what's happening here? I don't understand. So I was like, well, okay. Knight b to d7, and I am going to be able to get this square here, or control here, or whoops, put it back. Come on. Put it back to f6, which to me I think would have been fine. So that's my idea here. At this point in the game, in the full database of all the games played on Lichess, this has only been seen 4 times total, and one was bullet, the other 3 were blitz. So this is not classical chess that has really been played, or these positions haven't been seen, at least from any online material that I found. And when I looked in ChessBase, I didn't see any either. This position hasn't been seen before. So and then he played d3, and I'm really kind of confused on what's going on, because okay, he doesn't want to contest the center. All right, that's fine. He's letting me kind of do whatever I want to do. I have to figure out how best to proceed. I still need to develop my light squared bishop, and I think the best place for it is on b7. That's at least what I'm thinking about in the game. So I made a plan to come up with that, and I played rook to b8 as a prophylactic move to see. I want to see what he's going to do and how he's going to proceed. And I was thinking he might try to do some sort of pawn attack on the king side and then castle queen side. I had this thought that this might be how he goes, and he played g4. And I thought, wow, okay, it's really premature. And then I'm also looking at he played 7 pawn moves out of 9 moves. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. This has moved twice. 7 and only 2 developing moves, and I've got almost my full army developed. So he's been making a lot of pawn moves, and I kind of picked up on this right away, and I said, well, I think he's expecting, black to maybe dictate the play, or he mentioned to me after, he's like, yeah, I wanted to attack you on the king side, and he's like, I don't think my attack worked. And I asked him, I'm like, well, why did you think it was going to work? He said he didn't think it was going to, he didn't think he could be fast enough. And I said, well, at this position on move 9, I've got 1, 2, I've got 3, maybe 4 pieces protecting my king along with all my pawns, and you only are attacking with these 2 pawns. Yeah, these are back here, but they're not really attacking. They're pointing towards h5, so they're not really in the attack. This rook might be in the attack, so in order to have a successful attack, you need to have at least 2 more pieces. Sorry, let me change those. At least 2 more pieces than I have defending. And right now I've got 4 pieces, maybe 5 if you count my rook, and you've only got 1. So if you're going to go through our pawn storm, you're going to need to castle, get both your knights over here, and then get your rooks behind. And then you can come castle or come attack me. But right now, just lashing out with pawns isn't going to work. And he's like, yeah, I just don't think it was fast enough. So I told him, I'm like, you made a lot of pawn moves. And I think that's where you ran into problems. I think you needed to get castled earlier and then get your pieces and move towards the queen side. Like, if you follow the pawn structure, my pawn structure points this way. So I should be playing on the king side. His pawn structure points this way. So he should be playing on the queen side. So if you're unclear on where you should be playing and what side of the board, just go to whichever way your pawns are pointing. That's the way. It's an arrow. It says go that way. Go that way. Look at where you have all this space. You have all these, white has all these squares over here to play with. So you want to try to break through on the H file or the C file. And then green, me, I want to start playing over here. So if you look at chess that way, you can go through and figure out how best to play. So my opponent from here played G5. So now he's played another pawn move. We're on move 10, and he's played 8 pawn moves out of 10. That's crazy. So I said, okay, well, I'm going to move back. He's got to protect that pawn because now I'm attacking it with my queen. And now I'm kind of unsure what white's going to do, because is he just going to try to break through with h5? He's not castled. His king is stuck in the center right now. He still has to develop a couple pieces before he can castle. Castling kingside seems a little bit shaky. I don't think you should do that. That would be kind of not good because all of my pieces are pointing that way. So the plan should be to castle queenside and kind of move that way quickly, or just stay in the center. So I'm kind of unsure how he's going to proceed. So I was like, well, I'm just going to continue with my development and gain control of the center a little bit more. And he played rook to h2. I think his best testing option should have been bishop to f3 to challenge my bishop, or at least break it off so I don't have more on the king side. But he didn't play that. But you have to be careful with this, this variation here, because now you're attacking 2 pieces. So I don't know that he can maybe even play that. Maybe knight to f3 was probably the best option. Even then, I think that's really tough to do. But reason being, if we play this, then he has this, and I think we're doing okay. Actually, we're not, because we have this, and we attack 2 pieces at once. So that's bad. He can't do that. So he can't move anything. He's in a tough spot. So moving the rook maybe that is the best move. Yeah. Either way, it's really tough. So now I said it's time to... I've got my pieces where I want them. I always have f5 on deck. I want to get my bishops active. I want to blow up the center because he's not castled. So positionally, I'm safe. Even if he pushes h5, I'm safe. I can always take back with one of my pawns. And if he takes, I can take back here, and then I gain this big file. So any of those are fine. So I said, I'm going to open up with d5. I want to blow up the whole center and just get pawns going. And this was the first time I spent quite a while thinking. This was my first critical move of the game. Well, not critical, but this is the one I spent a bunch of time on, d5, which was move 12. Yeah, I spent 5 minutes on this move, trying to figure out if I should play d5 or e5 or e4 or c5 or c6, or I had all these ideas in my head, but ultimately I thought this was best because I can always move my knight to here, and then control more of the center. So I thought this was really good. Also gives me my other knight can come here. I like all these ideas. The other thing that I thought was interesting is I've used 25 minutes, and at this point in the game, my opponent has only used 7. We have 140 minutes. Or not 140 minutes. We have an hour and 40 minutes plus a delay of 5. So we have plenty of time, and I've spent a good amount of time trying to get through. I spent over a half hour, about a half hour, trying to get through the opening, and we're probably nearing the end of it. And my opponent has spent less than 7. So he's moved really, really quickly. The other thing, this was F5 was one of the moves I considered, and I saw this and I was like, well, this has to be winning. Thought this was fine. So I was okay with that. So I always had that move, but ultimately I thought this was a better move. Mainly because if F5 and he decides some sort of other pawn move, I felt like it might have a greater potential for getting locked, and then this becomes maybe stronger at some point when he's ready. So if this happened, now I'm okay with this at this point because no, I don't want to go forward. I want to change, because now this is, things are going to get bad fast. Actually, no, he can't do that. He can't move there. That would be a mistake if he did that, because I can take here, and then this would actually then this would happen. Yeah, okay, fine. Then he'd have to take here. I guess I could take here and then here. Yeah, this is rough. His king's not castled. He can't castle kingside. Things are gonna look pretty bad. Yeah, tough way to go. But I ultimately went with this. I opened things up, and he played knight to d2, and I think this was an inaccuracy. I think he should have taken on c5, or I think he should have done this, and kind of went for something like that. And just decided to keep his king in the middle, and then moved all his pieces to defend. I think should have been the best way to go. He didn't like that, so I was like, all right, I'm gonna offer the most complications by playing c6, and yeah, this was good. So he stopped with a4, which I think is a good move, and e5 or c5 I think was my mistake. I think I should have played knight c5. And played this way. I think this is okay for me. If he takes here and here, yeah, we're in a good spot. I think all of this is good because then we get this open file. It's rough. No matter what he does, I think it's rough. I think I also had this as a move too. If he tries to lock it down, we'll just do that, maybe. Yeah, and then this. I don't know. It gets really messy, which is good. I think that's good for me. But I decided to stop that, and he played knight to h3. And here, I think this was a mistake. This was kind of some hope chess. I was creating some tactics because this comes here and comes here, and I don't think it's very good. I think right here I should have played e4, and that was definitely something I had considered, but after talking to my training partner Evan, he had mentioned e4 here was probably most likely winning, and I have to agree. Maybe not winning, but it's very strong. It's gonna, everything's gonna go kind of blow up and kind of open up wide. So I think it's gonna be very good. We need to open lines, and I think that's the best way. So I didn't play that. I allowed him to play this because I saw this sequence. I also saw this sequence, and I was okay with all of that. And then he'd have to try to protect both his pawns. But yeah, I got my wish, and he played this way, and I still got my wish because now he's got to protect both these pawns and hang on to them. And now at this point I have a target. I want to get myself to this square here, and I create a plan around going through that. Now I need to maneuver pieces. I've got okay space, so now I can just maneuver my pieces and try to get to the outpost. Even if he gets castles queenside, I'm not too worried about it. He's very, when I talked to him during the postmortem, he didn't want to castle queenside because I always had this, and then he didn't think he could stop any of that. So he went through, and here I have to kind of be a little bit careful with that push. I thought, okay, well, I'm going to continue my plan. I stopped this way and I'm protecting the pawn. He castled queenside, getting and gaining control here, and then also getting his rook over here for this particular attack, but it's too slow. I think this was a wasted move too. I think he should have tried to continue with his plan faster. He just didn't execute his plan fast enough, but it doesn't work either way. I get my wish, I get my knight in, he moves his queen, and now I decide, well, my bishop is stifled by this, that's ultimately why he told me he played f3, is to stop for my bishop. But I'm going to reroute my bishop to e6 so I can attack this pawn. And now I have to be a little bit careful because if he moves his knight, this pawn's under attack and I have to be able to defend it. So, and I need to defend it without a queen, otherwise I'm trading a queen for 2 rooks, and I didn't think that was good. So I played rook e7, and maybe this was a mistake. Maybe I should have just played knight f7. I don't know. I like the way I played it, but I feel like there might have been a better way to play it. And bishop to f1, bishop to e6, and I did calculate this from back here when he moved here. And I saw all of this, and it actually happened, which to me I was pretty happy with my calculation in this particular instance. And I thought, well, if he decides to trade, I'm going to trade queens instead of trading his bishop and losing a tempo. So I got my queen to a better position while he did all the trading of the bishop. So I thought this was nice. And here I think this was his decisive mistake, because this allowed me to have counterplay against the c-file. I don't think he can take that knight at all. I think he just has to be okay with it being there and deal with anything else. So if he doesn't take, my idea is to get my other knight right here to support it and then maybe jump in here. Those are my ideas. And then pile up on the d-file with my rooks. So, whoops. Oh my goodness. Let's move all these lines. So we want to move this rook here, this rook here. We want to get this knight to here and then go from there. So those are the kind of ideas that we want. And I think this is positionally won for black at this point. So he takes, and I think this is just an actual critical mistake because now he gives me some open lines, and now this pawn is extremely weak. He's stuck defending it with his queen and his knight, and I've got, whoops, wrong colors. I've got 2 pieces attacking. I'm going to get 3. I can get 4 very fast. So he has no way to really cover stopping me from getting that pawn. So he goes for it, and I decide to maneuver, and he stopped it. He's got 3 pieces on that piece. I've got 3 pieces on that piece. So this is the critical thing. I thought about just coming here and going after it, and I thought, well, his next move is going to be here, right? So I thought, well, I'm going to go a different route. I want to bring my knight here, and then either here or here. And I saw this as a critical square. And can you see why that's a critical square? Leave some comments down below. Pause the video, try to figure it out. Why is the C5 square the critical square in the position? Pause the video, leave some comments, let me know down below. If you're on the stream, go ahead and mention why you think that's an actual good square, and what's the significance of that square, if you know. All right, so I came here with the idea of bringing my knight to C5 or A5. So that's the answer. And if you can guess what's happened, the game ends very quickly. My opponent played rook to C1, and the game is pretty much over after the next move. Can you find the move? And if you commented from the last move before, you already know. And if you didn't and you didn't see it, here's the answer, and here's the game-winning move. Forking the king and the queen, and my opponent resigned here. Overall, I think it was a really great game. I enjoyed this game quite a bit. Unfortunately for my opponent, he kind of played into my style of chess. I don't think he really knew that he was playing into my style of chess. I like a slow maneuvering game. I like maneuvering my knights and moving pieces around and coming up with plans and ideas that are slow and very methodical. I like this play a lot, and this is the type of play that I thrive in. I do not thrive in tactical, sharp, open positions, so that's why I'm actually trying to play them. But my opponent actually played into something that I'm very strong in. I think I could have played this game a lot better than I did. So I'm a little rusty from being off for 6-8 weeks, but I think overall I'm pretty happy with my play of the game. Pretty decisive positional factors in this game. I think the key moments were that my opponent played a lot of pawn moves and did not really use his pieces to play that much. And we talked about it in post-mortem. He knew that this was a major blunder, and he realized it as soon as I made the move. He's like, oh, geez, I can't believe I missed that. So a rough day for him. I felt kind of bad, but it happens. But we had a really nice post-mortem, and it was really good. So, he's only back, 6-8 weeks, so he doesn't have a lot of time to study. So he definitely wants to study more, and I think when he does, he's going to ramp right back up to where he was. So yeah, overall, a great game, and I enjoyed this game quite a bit. So thanks to Charles. I ended up finishing my tournament. Actually, first of all, thanks for watching, everybody. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please comment, like, share. Really helps me out, shows me that you want to see more, and I do appreciate you guys all for watching. And stay tuned for the next few tournament games that'll be coming after I play my next tournament. Thank you very much. Okay, everyone. Yeah, I enjoyed this a lot. In this particular instance, I finished at 2.5 out of 4. Not bad. One of them's a first round bye, so I finished at a 2 out of 4, 2 out of 3. So I didn't play the first round, but it's counted in my results at least, but not during my rating. So, but it was a lot of fun. It was very good. So I can't complain for my first tournament. I was actually I was thinking the day before I had this game, my last final round, I was like, man, I've had a rough go. If I lose the last round, it's going to be a rough start to the season, which is fine. It happens. But overall, I'm pretty pleased with my play. I did a lot of study in my off time, and I think it was very good. a lot of tactical work. That's where my deficiencies are. But all right, so what time are we at? We are at 2 hours. So I'm going to take a small break. I'm going to go check on my kids, and then I will return. So I will see you guys in a little bit. Let's turn on some music.